Bandau Santa Santana Charana Dukha Pradau Bhayo Bichakarchubarana Bichirita Eko Pranohorilei Milata Eko Daruna Dukha Dei. From Tulsidasa. I bow down to the holy and the unholy because both give me pain. If a holy person leaves me, departs from me, I get pain. And when an unholy person comes to me, I get pain. So both give me pain, so I salute both. What Tulsidas meant about the company of the holy. See, holy company is very important in spiritual life. Chaitanya says that in 5 ways you can attain devotion. 5 ways. First, holy company, sadhu sangha. Second, naam, chanting God's name, japam. You will get devotion. Third, Bhagavat, studying devotional scriptures. You will get devotion. Fourth, Krishna Seva, worshipping God. Fifth, Tirthavas, staying in a holy place. These are the 5 ways you can attain devotion, love for God. So we need a little devotion so that we can develop love for God. Sometimes I see that a love and knowledge both go together. If I do not know you, I cannot love you. You cannot love a person on the street because you do not know that person. And the more we know, the more our love increases. The more you will know Sri Ramakrishna, the more your love will for Sri Ramakrishna will increase. I gave a very funny worldly example. Here is a girl fell in love with a young man, handsome young man, love at first sight. Then the girl heard from her friends that that girl was coming from a very rich family, will inherit a lot of money. The girl's love increases. Then he says that girl is very good character, a good musician, good sportsman. The more this girl knows that boy's various aspects, gunas, good qualities, the more her love increases. Same way, we can increase love for God. How shall we get it? Holy company. You see, I went to Ramakrishna Mission when I was 14 years old. My brother took me, introduced me some monks in Udbodhan. And then I used to go to Belurma, Dakshineshwar. I was in class 8th grade. Then I came to Advaita Ashrama in 1958 as a proofreader. Then in 1960, I joined. Then 10 years I was in Advaita Ashrama in Belurma. And in 71, I came to Hollywood. 7 years Hollywood and 42, 43 years in St. Louis. That is my brief story, but I shall tell you that a few years ago, a thought came to my mind. I have a collection of diaries of many dead monks. It's just behind me. Behind my chair, there's a big stack of diaries. And I have my own diaries, and I have huge collection of tapes. I interviewed the monks. In 77, I went to India. In 82, in 1986, 1990. At that time, still some Swamis are alive. The disciples of Holy Mother, disciples of Swamiji, At the time, no, Swamiji. Brahmananda, Shivananda, Saradananda, their disciples are alive. So I used to interview them and I used to record. So these recordings are still in my closet. So what happened a few years ago, I was thinking, if I die, all these things will be lost. Really, they will be lost. So I started to write in Laguna Beach and in St. Louis whenever I have time. I started to write and transcribe the tapes and copy the diaries of the dead monks. So what happened? Look what happened. Prachin Sadhuder Katha. Can you see?
Yeah, yes, Swami.
2 volumes, Prachin Sadhuder Katha. 1,000 pages of materials here. Which is a beautiful addition of the Ramakrishna Vivekananda literature. And you will be, these are all in Bengali, but you will be glad to know that one of the nuns in San Francisco translated already the first volume, and it will go to the press very soon.
Very good.
So you will get everything in English eventually. So that is the most important thing I wanted to let you know. What are the materials are in these books? You see, Sri Ramakrishna is of source. We have not seen Sri Ramakrishna. Then the direct disciples. We have not seen them. The Swamiji's, the first direct disciples are the first generation. But we met the second generation monks. Those who are the disciples of Holy Mother, disciples of Swamiji, disciples of Brahmananda, Shivananda, and other Swamis. We met them. And whatever we heard from them, that we are the third generation. So whatever we heard from them or got from them, that we will find in these 2 books. But I am, you see, you will have to understand, I am in this country nearly 50 years. There are so many things are lost, many things are not recorded. So my recording is very little. That little has come 1,000 pages. If other Swamis will record, could you imagine how much information about these direct disciples we could get? But I did another thing. We, from Udbodhan, old magazine, the reminiscences of Brahmananda, Premananda, Shivananda, all the Swamis, I have a Xerox machine that I Xerox and copy it and edit it, and nearly 11 volumes have come out. Reminiscences of the Jari disciples, Holy Mother, AIM. Huge materials in Bengali. Some people are now translating. So these are the information you will get. So as I sometimes say, everything is not in the book. Sometimes you will have to hear from the oral tradition and from the monks. Let me start first with some of the Holy Mother's disciples. I remember it must be 1952 or 53. I went to Udbodhan and I bowed down a very senior monk, Swami Chetanananda. The moment I tried to bow down, do you know what he said? Bow down from a distance. Then I was thinking, why did he say that? He was an illumined soul. Mother's private attendant and disciple. Then I bowed down and left. Later on, I heard that he had tuberculosis and he just discharged from the hospital. So that for my safety, he asked me, bow down from a distance. When I was coming to this country, at that time, streptomycin, you will have to understand, in TB medicine was invented in 1950s. So he got that medicine and he was cured. Previously, there was no medicine for TB. So when I coming to this country, at that he died in, I think, 1973. So I went to his room and bowed down to him, and his attendant said, Maharaj, he is going to America, please bless him. So he looked at me, Job Koro, repeat the mantra. 15 minutes I sat near him and he only said 2 words. Swami Madhavanandaji told me about him. You see, you people, we struggle when you japa and meditation. He does not struggle. The moment he sits, he merges. His mind is so pure and so desireless. He does not need any time to merge. That we have seen in these monks. He told Swami Sridharanandaji, Sholil Maharaj, he is now in Sydney in Australia, that how to get command from God, from the Divine Holy Mother. I shall read that passage to you. I put it in the Holy Mother's biography, but as many of you have. And let me read to you. You know, sometimes in our life, sometimes we get confused. Look what he said. Mother had once told him how to receive, him means Shantananda, how to receive her command. If there is any crisis in your life, remember me. Isolate yourself from others for a few days and practice japa and meditation intensely. Pray wholeheartedly and ask me, Mother, what shall I do? During that period, eat less and keep your body and mind pure. Try to maintain silence and speak only if it is absolutely necessary. Do not let others people know what you are doing. Continue your prayer and sadhana in this way with a one-pointed mind. Never lose patience. If you see that you are not receiving my command, still you should not give up hope. If you find that no response is coming, then know for certain that your mind has not risen high enough to receive my command. You will definitely receive my command if you call on me with wholehearted faith and devotion. It is page 760, Sri Sharada Devi and Divine Play. You see, those words are very, very important to us. How to practice sadhana. Anyhow, then I met Hari Premananda, mother's attendant. He's also from Bankura district. I was in Banaras in 1959. This Swami was my guide. He took me first to Vishwanath temple. That temple, you know, Indian temples, you will not have to make any effort. You just stand, push in, push out. That is Indian temples. Push in, push out. So I went, I was pushed in, just Vishwanath, and say, you know, just put some flowers and some water, and then pushed out. Then Maharaj took me to the corner of the temple outside. There is a stone, white marble stone bench. So I sat there. Then he said, sit here. And now repeat the mantra, and what you saw momentarily, that you now meditate and take a deep impression in your heart. You see, I learned how to visit a deity, a temple, or a shrine. You know, you go there and just bow down and come out. Never do that. Whenever you come to the center, Jala center, you not have to meet the meet Brahma Prana. First straight go to Thakur. Sit there 5-10 minutes. And then you meet Brahma Prana or anybody. This is the way we are trained. First Thakur, then everything else. Thakur নিজেই বলে প্রথমে ঈশ্বর তারপরে জগৎ. First God, then the world. Look what Jesus said. First seek the kingdom of heaven. Everything will be added unto you. First God. That we learned from the Swami. But I heard another story about the Swami. He was in Bankura, went to his Holy Mother and Radhu. Radhu was sick. And Holy Mother took her to Swami Maheshwarananda, আমাদের Dr. Maharaj. He was a homeopathic doctor, very good doctor, mother's doctor also. So it was a room, and there was a kerosene lantern. Mother was seated on a stool, and Holy Prem Maharaj was massaging mother's feet with medicated oil. You see, she had that pain, it is called arthritis pain. So medicated oil was rubbing mother's feet. And he was saying, my goodness, mother looked like a very old woman. Her veins and sinews are visible, wrinkled skin, old lady. And she was rubbing, he was a young boy in his teens, rubbing and thinking. And all of a sudden, and people call him Divine Mother, all of a sudden he saw mother's feet change. It became very fleshy, very smooth skin feet. Then he was puzzled. What is the matter? Then he looked up. He saw mother was not there. Jagadhatri, 400, Divine Mother. Then, he fell. After a few minutes, mother said, oh, Hori, ki holo go? Oh, Hori, what happened? Get up, boy, get up. I got up and saw again same Holy Mother. You see, I think my last lecture I gave on Holy Mother, there I mentioned that how many ways Holy Mother appeared. She appeared as Jagadhatri, Kali, then Bagala, then five, Sita, in various ways she appeared. Thakur appeared, Rama, Krishna, these, that, gods and goddesses. Holy Mother also appeared in many forms. Anyhow, that is the story of Hori Prem Maharaj. And that Dr. Maharaj, you see, when Holy Mother passed away, you will see Mother's book, that death scene, you will find that Dr. Maharaj is standing near her head. Very tall person. I met him. When Holy Mother's body was carried to Belun Math, dead body, he took the umbrella and 4 miles lifted the umbrella so that mother's face will not get the sun. When I read that story, I was thinking, how much love these disciples had for their mother, had for Holy Mother. You see, those incidents, those episodes enhance love, devotion in our minds. Those tiny incidents, episodes. Then I met Baroda Maharaj, Chetanananda, very fond of me. When I was coming to this country, he gave me mother's hair, mother's nail, all those things I have. Many mementos of Holy Mother, a cloth, a piece of cloth, all those things he gave to me because I was coming to this country. Anyhow, Boroda Maharaj, I asked Maharaj, in our home, I have mother, sisters, 5 sisters. I have aunt, many women in our family. But what is the difference between Holy Mother and these women? He said, you see, have you seen any human being with no desire? Completely desireless. That we saw in the mother. No desire. You always remember, we all have desires. But God does not have any desire. Desire comes from ignorance. You see, if you read Vedanta philosophy, you will see 3 things. Avidya, kama, karma. Ignorance, desire, action. Ignorance, desire, action. All these human beings are rotating in these 3 places. So that we see in the mother, completely desireless. Then I asked in 1977 in Vrindavan, Swami Sharadeshananda ji. And tell him, Maharaj, you are an attendant of Holy Mother in Janamaji for many years. What speciality, what important characteristic you saw in her? He just used one word, Nirobhiman, egoless. Egoless. That I saw in the mother. You will have to know, you must know, all human beings have egos. We have egos. But mother did not have any ego. God does not have any ego. Human beings have ego. Ego comes from ignorance. That we saw in the mother. Then I interviewed in 1986, Swami Satya Sarupananda, Vishesh Maharaj in Banaras. Maharaj, what you saw in the mother, tell us. Well, I saw he never hurt people. She never used any harsh word to anybody in her whole life. Sometimes we hurt people. You see, we make friends through words, we make enemy through words. That we saw in the mother. Amazing. Never saw fault in others. Then I met Vishuddhanandaji many times. Of course, he was the vice president of our order, but I never get any chance to interview him. But you know, when we saw him, he could really create an atmosphere. In the afternoon, people would come to listen to him for an hour. In Belurmaj guest house upstairs, I saw people are surrounded, he was surrounded by the people, devotees. He would only talk about Thakur, Ma, direct disciples, Gita, Upanishad. And definitely he could lift your minds in the upper plane of consciousness. An amazing person. Really amazing person. Do you know what he said to one monk? Today is a very special day in my life. I read Gospel of Ramakrishna 50 times. 50 times I read the Gospel of Ramakrishna. And every time I read, I find something new. You see, sometimes I say people, truth can never become old. Truth always remains the truth, new. Look, Jesus said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. That one sentence, which is the gospel truth. 2000 years ago, that sentence was uttered. Still, that sentence is new. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. 2000 years old sentence, still it is new, fresh. Truth never becomes old. He used to tell, somebody asked him, Maharaj, who is great? Thakur and Mom. He smiled and said, I do not know who is great, but it is true that Sri Ramakrishna worshipped her. Now you decide who is great. About that gospel, I remember when I was initiated, I asked Swami Shankaranandaji, my guru, I said, Maharaj, give us some advice. Do you know what he said? Advice, upadesh, only upadesh. Nobody obeys, nobody practices, only asks upadesh, only ask advice. Then he said, read the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna every day. Sri Ramakrishna answered all questions. Whatever questions come to your mind, Sri Ramakrishna answered. If Ramakrishna's answers do not satisfy you, my advice also will not satisfy you either. We got a good lesson. Swami Madhavananda is also Mother's disciple. I remember it was in 1964. 64. I was in training center. So I had a night duty because 3 hours, night 11 to 2 o'clock was my duty. And 2 to 5, another brahmachari from training center. We used to give rest to the Swami's attendants. He was the president, so that they could get some sleep. So my duty was at that time, sitting in the corner, a little table lamp, I used to read the gospel. Because if Swami wants to go to bathroom, he will have to help. That is the reason. He needed some help. So, great Swami. I shall never forget. He was meditating on his bed. And he forgot where he was. After meditation, do you know what? He was trying to bow down and he fell from the bed and broke his femur bone. Oof. I remember I was sent to the training center 1 year late. So I said, Maharaj, I cannot come this year. Then, they were thinking perhaps he will be junior for 1 year. Do you know who is senior, who is junior? He who is close to Sri Ramakrishna, he is senior. He who is far away from Sri Ramakrishna, he is junior. It does not depend upon how many years they were in the monastery. You see, there is a saying of Kalidasa, Nahi dharma vriddhishu vaya samishati. Spirituality cannot be judged through age. An old person may be very bad, worldly, but a young person may be very spiritual. It doesn't depend upon age. Sometimes we used to get a scolding. I remember Swami Chetanananda, he is also Mother's disciple. So he asked me a question. So I said, Maharaj, it seems to me, bas, scolding. I asked you a question. You must answer yes or no. I do not want a vague answer. Depending on your words, I am going to make a decision. Do not do that. How much we can learn from the senior Swamis. You must be specific. You must be very truthful. Of course, I joined with Swami Gambhiranandaji. He was then president of Advaita Ashrama. I still remember he was translating a book, Reminiscences of Swami Vivekananda. It is my favorite book, from Bengali into English. And he has terrible stomach pain. Taking a hot water bag, he was pressing on his stomach. Then I went to his room and said, Maharaj, you are not well, please take some rest. Could you give me a guarantee if I lie down to bed, my pain will go? Uncle, I cannot give you guarantee. Then do you know what he said? When I work for Swamiji, I forget my body idea. I learned from the Swami how to work. How to work. You see, if you do not live with them, these people's sacrifice made this Ramakrishna order great. Sacrifice. I remember I went to meet Swami Omkaranandaji, Mother's disciple. When I went to the Baptist Training Center, I went, Maharaj, I came to you and my training is over and I came to you to bow down. What? Training is over? Did anybody beat you with shoes? Uncle, no. Then your training is not, you are not trained. Your ego is not yet shattered. We used to meet all kinds of Swamis, I tell you frankly. Did anybody beat you with shoes? Oh, he was full of inspiration. He wrote many letters. You will find in that book that I reproduced some of his letters, how he inspired me. Then I met Swami Nirbananandaji, of course. From the very beginning, he was the manager of Advaita Ashrama, then he became vice president. He was an attendant of Swami Brahmananda and close friend of Swami Prabhavananda. Actually, he proposed my name to Hollywood. He was responsible for my coming to the America, to the USA. He told, you see, in Balloon Mart, when we were during our training period in the evening, we used to go to some senior Swami's room and they used to tell us some stories. He told a beautiful story I shall never forget. Well, I went to Swami Turiyananda and asked Maharaj, we left home. We left family, father, mother, all relatives. But still we have not realized God. Then Swami Turiyananda says, look, you have come under Kalpataru tree, wish-fulfilling tree. The fruits are hanging. If you stay under this tree, you will get a fruit. But if you want the fruit right now, shake the tree. Shake the tree. Do you know what it means? Purushakar, self-effort. You see, please remember, a Purushakar, self-effort and divine grace, they go together. I sometimes give an example. Here is a scissors. One blade cannot cut the cloth. Two blades are necessary. One is self-effort, another is divine grace. That is the way it works. Self-effort and divine grace. Shake the tree. Shh. In training center, I met Swami Bodhatmanandaji, a great Swami, great Pandit, great scholar. He told me, hey, look, there are three kinds of monks. Tele bhaja, ghiye bhaja, and ghiye bheje chini rase dobano. Tele bhaja means ordinary monks, just took the ochre cloth, took some vows and regular, just lead life, in the monastery. They are not bad, they are working. Tele bhaja, ordinary. But they will go for pilgrimage and with the devotees and ask money from the devotees for something for his personal use. That is Tele bhaja. And Ghiye bhaja is, they are scholars, great erudition. You see, our Ramakrishna monks, we have many great scholars. Then Ghiye bhaja chini rasa dobano mane, they are scholars at the time, very deep in spiritual life, extremely spiritual. That becomes very tasty. You see, ordinary fried things doesn't become taste. Ghee bhaja, you just soak into syrup, it will be more tasty. I remember I interviewed Swami, our Tapasya Suryan Maharaj, Swaprakashanam in Banaras in 1977. I asked Maharaj, you are close to Swami Turiyananda. Tell me something about Turiyananda. Then he said, we are in Konkhal ashram. So Turiyananda and myself, we went for a walk to Hardwar, Brahmakund, and maybe 1 mile, 1 or 2 miles from our Konkhal ashrama. So by the side of the road, there is a sweet shop, confectioner. So man was making jalebi. As you know, the batter, they put it in a hole and they roll it in a deep fry, and then they hold it and drop into syrup. Then Swami Turiyananda shouted, hey Shuren, jalebi is our goal, jalebi is our ideal, jalebi is our ideal. Well, how can it be jalebi our ideal? Chini rase, ghee bheje, chini rase fellow. Fry in ghee and soak into syrup. Do you know what does it mean? Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Devotion and knowledge mixed. Then your spiritual life will be interesting. How to make the spiritual life interesting? That I interviewed Swami Vivedishanandaji in 1973 in Seattle. I asked Maharaj, when you are initiated, Swami Brahmananda gave you his spiritual instruction. What kind of instruction you got from him? He said, do you know what? Maharaj told me, it's Chatyakar. Jop, Dhyan, Puja, Path. Puja, Path, Jop, Dhyan. Puja means worship, a little ritual. Perhaps you in your shrine, put some flowers, offer incense. That is puja. Or some in Hollywood, Santa Barbara, they do ritualistic worship, regular. 5-10 items worship, the nuns do. That is puja. Path means reading. A little reading is very helpful. Some monks I know, before they go to the shrine, they read a little Gospel of Ramakrishna or Viveka Chudamani. They get some thoughts, then they go to the shrine. Path. Japam, you know Japam, and Dhyan, meditation. If you practice food, your spiritual life will not be monotonous. Brahmananda told to this his attendant, his disciple, and I learned from him. You see, this is the way we learn. We learn from each other. Always remember, there are two types of guru. Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. Diksha Guru means the guru who gave you mantra, initiation. That guru is one. That cannot be two. But Shiksha Guru can be many. Avadhuta in Bhagavatam had 24 gurus. That is the way it works, you see. We can learn from many, many other Swamis. That is the way I learn, that I am sharing with you. So many things to learn. As Sri Ramakrishna says, Jotodin bachi, totodin shiki. As long as I live, so long do I learn. Never think that I will know everything. Swamiji says, the person who says I have nothing to know, nothing to learn, he is dead. Always keep your heart open. Kanchan used to say, you people think Vivekananda is a teacher. I saw he was a great learner. Every day he learned something new. That is the reason his lectures are not boring. Always fresh. I remember in Hollywood, one devotee was very depressed. So she called me. I said, I know how to get rid of this depression. Well, how? Go close the door and open your book, Swamiji's Complete Words, Volume 2. There is a lecture called Open Secret. Read that lecture. It will take 40 minutes. Read loud so that your mouth, your eyes, and ear, 3 organs will function. 1 hour. After 1 hour, you give me a call. But he says, Swami, it works. It works. Swamiji's words have tremendous power. Christopher Richard told me in Hollywood. Swami, he used to read lectures when Swami Prabhupada was not well in Hollywood and Santa Barbara Temple. He used to read, and many people would come to listen. And Isharu told me, Swami, when I read Swamiji's lectures, I feel his presence. This thing way we learn. We learn. Bodhatmanandaji. Bodhatmanandaji, I remember, sometimes it's funny. During our convocation, he was telling, Vidya Chotushpan, learning has 4 quarters. 1/4 comes from the guru, 1/4 comes from the disciple, 1/4 comes from the co-students, and 1/4 comes in the course of time. So don't expect anything more than 1/4 from me. Our principal Swami was giving the convocation address. Vidya Chotushpat, learning has 4 quarters. Guru will give 1/4, disciple will contribute 1/4, and disciple will discuss with other disciples and clear their understanding. That is the 3rd quarter. And 4th quarter, it comes in the course of time. These are the wisdoms we used to get from the old Swamis. And another thing we watched is their nishtha, the steadfast devotion. Swami Brahmananda told Swami Chetanananda, তুই গভীর রাত্রে ধ্যান করবি. You must meditate at midnight, 12 o'clock at night. So that Swami followed Guru's teachings all through his life. Midnight meditation. Anyhow, each person is different, you know. Then I interviewed another Swami, Dharmeshanandaji. He, in 1982, in Banaras Advaita Ashrama, he told me that he used to go to AIM. And AIM, he told AIM that, you know, I don't believe that God exists. AIM says, my goodness, you read the whole Ramayana and now you are asking me who is the Aunt Sita belongs to whose Shitakar Mashi. whose aunt is Sita. Then M says, I had the same problem. One day, I went to Dakshineshwar. And do you know what? Thakur was resting after lunch. And I was seated near his feet and I was caressing his feet. And I was thinking, he eats, he sleeps, he talks, he walks, just like all of us, human beings. How can he be God? Immediately, Sri Ramakrishna got up. Hey, কি ভাবছো? কি ভাবছো? একে ভাবলে একে চিন্তা করলে সব পাবে। একে ভাবলে সব পাবে। একে ভাবলে সব পাবে। 3 times Sri Ramakrishna said, if you think of me, you will get everything. You will think of me, you will get everything. You will think of me, you will get everything. Saying so, Sri Ramakrishna started to talk to the Divine Mother. Mother, did I say it or you said it? Did I say it or you said it? Did I say it? You said it. He began to talk and then boom, merged into Samadhi. Him said, that day I understood that Sri Ramakrishna was God. Well, I have so many things to talk about Prabhupada. I watched and I lived with him for 5 years. His steadfast devotion for his Guru, amazing. Amazing Guru Bhakti. He told few things that is very, very interesting to me. I wrote in my diary. I used to go sometimes, go with him for walk. Then sometimes he used to call me in his room and tell me many stories. One day he was telling Chetanananda, I feel very depressed. I said, why, Maharaj? You know, previously I used to go to the shrine 3 times a day. You know, Hollywood, Santa Barbara, they have a rule that morning before breakfast, 1 hour meditation. Before lunch, 1 hour meditation. Before supper, 1 hour meditation. That system, that custom, Swami Prabhupada introduced in Hollywood, Santa Barbara, and Tubuco. That, you know, nowadays I cannot go to the shrine. I mean, he had heart attack. Well, I feel dizzy. Then I said, Maharaj, you don't need to go to the shrine. Why? You are a disciple of Swami Brahmananda. And you made 8 or 9 Jari disciples and also Holy Mother. Their memories are hovering in your mind. Well, yes, they are all the time in the mind. You know, we ate with him in the dining table in the nuns. He used to tell all his memoirs and again, many things he used to tell. They are all precious, those reminiscences. Then do you know what happened? Then I said, Maharaj, their thoughts are flowing inside your mind. That is called Sahaja Yoga, natural awareness of God. That you have. Well, yes. Well, that is higher than meditation and japa. If God's thoughts continuously flow in your mind, so you are always in divine flame. Well, you see, that is true. And then he was telling me, দেখো, এই জন্য সাধুরও সাধু সঙ্গ দরকার. Even a monk needs the company of a monk. He told me another couple of things that impressed me very much. He went to Swami Chetanananda, Swamiji's first disciple. At that time, Swami Prabhupada was a student in City College. Chetanananda asked him, because he are close to Boshishan. Boshishan was, their Shen family also very close to Swami Chetanananda. So Chetanananda asked Prabhupada, he was a student, do you know the meaning of the word constructive? Yes. No? Check the dictionary, get the meaning. Do you know the meaning of the, now you know the meaning? Yes, Maharaj. Do you know the meaning of the word destructive? Yes. Open the dictionary, get the meaning. Yes, I got it. Now you know what is constructive, what is destructive. Yes. My boy, henceforth do everything constructive. That Prabhupada did. You know, that sentence is very important to me. Do everything constructive in your life. Then he went to Swami Chetanananda in Banaras and asked him, Maharaj, Chetanananda was Gitokta Yogi. He was the embodiment of Gita. He experimented. He realized Bhagavad Gita. So he said, Maharaj, will you teach me Bhagavad Gita? Come tomorrow. He went there. Take one verse, memorize it, get its meaning, practice it. Until you get perfection, don't take the next verse. This is my first class and this is my last class. That sentence impressed me. Impressed me. Swami Sarvagatananda's one important thing impressed me so much. He was a disciple of Swami. He was a Boston Swami. He went to Swami Akhandananda, his guru. I want to be a monk. You want to be a monk? Walk from Bombay to Hardwar. Maybe 1,500 miles. 1,000 to 1,500 miles. Go. Barefoot, do not take money, bake food, and go. He went there after 3-4 months, arrived there. Swami Kalyanananda was then the president. There, he was Swamiji's disciple who started that hospital. Hello, young man, you want to be a monk? Yes, Maharaj. Look, Mondire, Puja, Noivedya, and Prarthana. Why do you go to the shrine? What do? You do the worship, you offer food to the Lord, and then you pray. And in our hospital, Sheba, Oshotpatto, Duti Mishti Kotha. Sheba, here you serve the patients. There you did the puja, here you did the service, and there you gave the Noivedya, here medicine and diet. And there you pray, here say a few sweet words to these patients. If you can see these both are same, then you join here. To me, that is practical Vedanta. Practical Vedanta. That Swamiji taught us. That Ramakrishna Mission, our Vedanta centers, that we are doing. You see, sometimes I ask the our monks and I tell them, you see, Thakur had a vision. Bhakto, Bhagavat, Bhagavan, Teen, Ak. A light came from Krishna in Krishna temple in Dakshineshwar and touched the Bhagavatam reader and then touched Thakur. This experience said these three are one. So these devotees are not ordinary people. These devotees are God. You know, Thakur gave all these ideas to us. Look what he said. I love, appreciate, and I really adore the devotees. I sometimes make a joke. If there is no devotees, God goes to sleep. Nobody is calling me, what good is there? Let me sleep. And devotees also need God. As God needs devotees, otherwise he cannot play. And devotees also need God because they're burning by Maya. Who will give you the peace? God. Sometimes I say peace and bliss you cannot buy in the snook, in the market. I give £5 peace and £10 bliss. Will you get? That come from spiritual life. That come from God. Anyhow, that is the reason that practical Vedanta. You see, you will have to learn. If you do not lead that, how these words transform the lives of these monks. These two books will really will eye-opener for you. You read gospel, you read other books are there, but these people are experimenting all the words of the gospel in their lives. Devotees, Look, Thakur said, "Sabche bado prithivi." This earth is very big. The ocean is bigger than the earth. The space is bigger than earth and the ocean. And God, Vishnu, in 1 feet, he covered the whole world with his feet. And that God, the heart of the devotee is bigger than God, because the infinite God goes into the heart of the devotee. So the devotee's heart is the biggest place one can think of. Thakur said that. So how devotees are very important. Thakur appeared before after death. Thakur appeared before Surendranath Mitra. Hey, what are you doing? My disciples are no place to stay. Make a home for them. He said, please start a center. I shall give money. Judobad Jaiga. This center, I'm glad that Jala has a center. If people can come, can get a rest. That is the resting place. Each center of Thakur is a resting place for the devotees. The moment you sit in the shrine, you forget the world. These things we learn from these monks. It is 11 o'clock. I think I have so many things to say, but it is enough, I think. Only one thing I can tell you. One story of Swami Chetanananda. He was my mentor. Even I knew him from 1952. I was then 52, I was in class 10. Anyhow, I used to go to Sacramento almost every year and lived with him for a couple of weeks. One day he was telling, this morning I had an interview with an American devotee. She was telling me, Swami, nobody loves me. I felt very bad. I really felt bad. Nobody loves me. But we were talking, and there is a Krishna pond, there are 2 cane chairs. Then he said, but I see love is everywhere. Look at that peach tree, apple tree. They are standing there all the year round. When season comes, they give me fruits. They give me fruits. They do not eat their own fruits. Those trees love me. Then he was a little poet, When I get up from my bed, I go to the bathroom. The toothpaste and brush tell me, we love you, brush your teeth. Then the water tells me in the sink, rinse your mouth, I love you. Then I put on my clothes, I go to the shrine, the asana, the seat tells me, please sit down, meditate, I love you. Then I go to the breakfast table, the chair tells me, I am sitting, waiting here whole night, please sit down, have your breakfast, I love you. Then my toast, my fruit juice, my coffee, my cereal, all tell me, we love you, eat us and get strength, we love you. I see love is everywhere. So listening to this story, I came to St. Louis and I gave a lecture. That is one of my favorite lectures. Love is everywhere. It is in Shankar philosophy. Sanghato pararthatvat. All combined objects in this world are for others, not for itself. It is true. Your beauty is not for yourself. We enjoy your beauty. This room is not for itself. It is protecting me from the sun, from the rain, from snow. This light is not for itself. It is giving me so that I can see you. Just see. Everything is for others. Nothing for itself. Sanghatu pararthatva. So love is everywhere. So I was very sick coming from Kansas City to St. Louis in the plane, American Airlines. I sat at the back. That one air hostess came to me. Why are you back? We go in the front. I go, no, I don't feel good today. Then the girl became very interested with me. Then she started to talk. Then I told her I'm a monk. Then when I was leaving, that girl stopped me. Before you leave, you give me a word of wisdom. I go, you really want a word of wisdom? Yes. Love and serve. That is enough for you. Love people, serve people. That is Swamiji's words. Love and serve. Thank you very much, Brahma Prana. I think I did all right.
I think you did beautifully, Maharaj.